10 countries where Americans are not welcome in 2024. Hey travelers, in a world interconnected by travel, there are some places where Americans may face challenges or even restrictions. Whether due to political tensions, safety concerns, or strict visa regulations, these destinations have become less welcoming to American travelers in 2024. The selection of these countries is based on various factors, including recent travel advisories, diplomatic relations, visa requirements, and safety concerns. While travel restrictions can change over time, as of now, here are the destinations where Americans might encounter difficulties when planning their next adventure. Number 1. North Korea. North Korea is one of the most isolated and secretive nations in the world. Due to ongoing political tensions and concerns over safety, the North Korean government strictly controls entry for foreign visitors, including Americans. Obtaining a visa for North Korea is exceptionally difficult and usually requires joining a government-approved tour group. Moreover, the country's closed-off nature and limited infrastructure mean that travelers face significant challenges in terms of communication, transportation, and access to basic amenities. Number 2. Syria. Syria has been embroiled in a devastating civil war for over a decade, resulting in widespread destruction and instability. The ongoing conflict has led to a dire humanitarian crisis and poses serious risks to anyone entering the country, including Americans. The U.S. Department of State strongly advises against all travel to Syria due to the high threat of terrorism, kidnapping, and violence. Obtaining a visa for Syria is nearly impossible for most travelers, and those who attempt to enter illegally face severe consequences. Number 3. Iran. Tensions between the United States and Iran have been strained for decades, leading to a complex relationship between the two nations. As a result, obtaining a visa for Iran as an American citizen can be challenging and often requires navigating a lengthy and bureaucratic process. While some travelers may be granted entry for specific purposes such as tourism or business, the political climate and security concerns may deter many Americans from visiting Iran. Number 4. Yemen. Yemen has faced ongoing conflict, political instability, and humanitarian crises in recent years, making it a highly dangerous destination for travelers. The country's civil war has led to widespread violence, including bombings, shootings, and kidnappings. The U.S. Department of State advises against all travel to Yemen due to the extremely high risk of terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. Obtaining a visa for Yemen is exceptionally difficult, and few Americans venture into the country due to the serious security threats. Number 5. Libya. Libya has experienced significant political turmoil and insecurity since the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The country remains deeply divided, with various armed groups vying for control, leading to ongoing violence and instability. The U.S. Department of State advises against all travel to Libya due to the threat of terrorism, kidnapping, and general lawlessness. Obtaining a visa for Libya is extremely difficult, and the volatile security situation makes it a highly risky destination for Americans. Number 6. Somalia. Somalia has long been plagued by conflict, piracy, and terrorism, making it one of the most dangerous countries in the world for travelers. The ongoing violence and instability, coupled with the presence of extremist groups such as Al-Shabaab, pose serious risks to anyone entering the country, including Americans. The U.S. Department of State advises against all travel to Somalia due to the threat of terrorism, kidnapping, and piracy. Obtaining a visa for Somalia is nearly impossible for most travelers, and those who attempt to enter illegally face grave danger. Number 7. Venezuela. Venezuela has experienced a severe economic and political crisis in recent years, leading to widespread unrest, shortages of basic goods, and a breakdown of law and order. The country's instability, coupled with high levels of crime and violence, make it a risky destination for travelers, including Americans. The U.S. Department of State advises against all travel to Venezuela due to crime, civil unrest, poor health infrastructure, and arbitrary arrest and detention of U.S. citizens. Obtaining a visa for Venezuela is challenging, and travelers may face difficulties accessing basic services and amenities. Number 8. Afghanistan. Afghanistan continues to face significant security challenges, including ongoing conflict, terrorism, and insurgency. The country remains highly volatile and dangerous for travelers, with the U.S. Department of State advising against all travel to Afghanistan due to the threat of terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. Obtaining a visa for Afghanistan is exceptionally difficult, and few Americans venture into the country due to the serious security risks. Number 9. Iraq. Iraq has faced decades of conflict, instability, and violence, making it one of the most dangerous countries in the world for travelers. The ongoing threat of terrorism, insurgency, and sectarian violence poses serious risks to anyone entering the country. The U.S. Department of State advises against all travel to Iraq due to the threat of terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. Obtaining a visa for Iraq is challenging, and travelers may face significant security risks if they choose to visit. Number 10. South Sudan. South Sudan, the world's youngest country, has experienced widespread violence and instability since gaining independence in 2011. The country's ongoing civil war has led to a dire humanitarian crisis, with millions of people displaced and in need of assistance. The U.S. Department of State advises against all travel to South Sudan due to the threat of violent crime, armed conflict, and kidnapping. Obtaining a visa for South Sudan is challenging, and travelers may face serious security risks if they choose to visit. While travel can be an enriching and rewarding experience, it's essential for Americans to exercise caution and carefully consider the risks before visiting certain destinations. By staying informed and heeding travel advisories, travelers can help ensure their safety and well-being while exploring the world. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can see upcoming videos.